Hello, my name is Rachael Beyer and I'm a researcher here at the University of San Diego, and today I'll be presenting to you on selective attention bias. Brief overview of what I'll be covering from introduction all the way through references. The selective attention bias or inattentional blindness, these are terms used interchangeably and they both mean the failure to see the unforeseen object in a visual setting. Three relevant studies that were conducted recently in 2013-2014. The first two, the researchers manipulated the perceptual load or the amount of focus required in the task prior to seeing the unexpected object, and they found a correlation between the ability to recognize the object and the amount of focus required. And what they notice is the less focus required, the more likely the participant was able to identify the unexpected object. In the third studies, researchers tested radiologists, and they found that 83% of radiologists failed to see a gorilla in a lung nodule test that was 48 times the size of an average nodule, which was surprising as these radiologists have had years and years of extensive research and training on detecting small abnormalities. So whether selective attention bias was at play is yet to be determined. And this phenomenon was tested in a study on college students at a liberal arts university in Southern California. And the participants were asked to focus on counting the basketball passes. The purpose of this study was to test if selective attention bias is a valid phenomenon or concept, and it accounts for the inability to see the unforeseen object in this visual setting. Our hypothesis was that amidst counting the basketball passes, the participants would recognize and identify the would not be able to identify the gorilla who comes onto the visual setting because of the inattentional blindness factor. There were 21 participants, 19 female, 2 males ranging from 17 to 21 years old, a variety of, mainly freshmen, but a variety of college student levels. And the video shown was called Selective Attention Bias. It was a few minutes long, featured players wearing black or white t-shirts passing the two basketballs, and the instructions were on the screen to asking participants to count the number of passes between players in the white t-shirts. And then a black gorilla came into the middle of the screen, pounded its chest, and came out of the visual setting. And their paper and writing utensils were administered for participants to record the number of basketball passes they saw. And here's a photo of the selective attention bias video. It was in a college classroom. There was no prior debriefing. After the video, the participants had to record the number of passes, and the researcher recorded the number of gorillas, or the number of people who saw the gorillas by show of hands. And it lasted around 10 minutes in total. There's no time limit, and there was a post-debriefing about what the study was aiming to do. The results, people tended to guess so the actual guess was 22 for the number of passes thrown between players in white, but people guess anywhere from 8 to 22, and the mean guess was 15.27, and the standard deviation was 2.43. 10 participants saw the gorilla and 11 participants did not. Here's a table of the guesses of the number of passes and the measures. This figure illustrates that more people did not see the gorilla than those who actually did. The correct number of passes between the people in white t-shirts was 15, so the mean was pretty close, though there were some extraneous values, so that's why there's such a high standard deviation. Perhaps their focus was diverted, and I'll talk about that on the next slide. More participants did not notice the gorilla than the video clip than those who did, and therefore our original hypothesis was supported. Their focus ability could have been contingent on outside variables, the colors in the visual setting, the white and black t-shirts as opposed to the black gorilla, whether that played a role. It may have, because the gorilla could have been pink and it would have been more noticeable, perhaps. It was a human-like gorilla. Some people are familiar with the video and they've seen it before. There's only one trial and it was a sort of a biased sample size. But in conclusion, our results supported our original hypothesis, and the number of passes were guessed with relative accuracy. Future research is needed to study the selective attention bias concept. And here are my references.